Hi everyone. This, I'm afraid, is about as good as I can do. I'm hoping you can see me. Let's shut everything down, so pop out chat. Right. How's the buffering now, folks? Are we better? It started buffering, says now. My CPU usage is off the friggin' chart. It's absolutely off the chart. Okay, it seems we're working okay. No, David, I don't think it is YouTube, mate. Honestly, if it's okay now, and you can see me fine, the problem is OBS Streamlabs. There was an update for OBS Streamlabs a couple of days ago, actually, and I think it was Thursday or Friday. It was a big update, and when I started using that on Sunday, all of a sudden my CPU usage was just off the chart. It still is. I've gone over to just OBS, and it seems to be better. So I'm hoping you can all hear me, although my usage is still off the chart, and I can't see where the CPU usage is. We're okay, are we? Okay, it seems we're okay. Let's hope so. Let's hope so. I was going to show her speech. Let's see if I can. Really sorry about this, guys, but I'm not the most technically minded person in the world, and it does seem like I'm having some shenanigans go over at the moment. But if everything is okay now, it does look like that it was a problem with OBS Streamlabs. Still buffering. I've dropped it down to the lowest latency I possibly can, so the it might not be the best, quality picture. She's really starting to piss me off. I think the thing that pisses me off the most about it is it makes me look unprofessional. That's the thing that really pisses me off. It really makes me look unprofessional. Thanks, Greg AFC. Oh, this is really starting to annoy me now because I really want to start going live more often. It's not the audio. Thanks, Lawrence. Thank you very much. That really, I appreciate that very much. I appreciate it. If anybody sends anything on Streamlabs, I won't be able to see it, by the way, because I'm actually on OBS now. I've gone off Streamlabs, but there's not much really I can bloody do now. Bastard thing. No, it's not a virus. It's absolutely it's off the chart. It's got to be at my end, this has. It's got to be at my end, this has. Oh, I'm really, really sorry about this. There's bugger all I can do about it. I'm just going to have to go ahead with it. I can't show the video because obviously I can't show the video because it's going to take up too many resources. I will have to try and get this sorted for the next time I live stream. I did try last night, but there's bugger all I can do. Right, so Theresa May's made her speech after the cabinet meeting about an hour ago, and to my surprise, she came out and said that she's got the support of the cabinet. Which did she? Let me just take you back for the last 2 years. I can't show any of the videos. I did have them all lined up, I promise, but obviously if I'm just buffering, then it's a waste of time me showing the videos. But for the last 2 years, Theresa May has been saying no deal is better than a bad deal. And what she's put forward here is worse than Chequers. Chequers couldn't get the support, and this is worse. Not only because the Remainers don't want it, sorry, the Leavers don't want it, the Brexiteers, but also now Remainers don't want it. Because what's the point of doing it if we're actually going to be tied into the European Union the same way as we were before? Let me just remind everybody. These are the things that were in the Tory manifesto. We will no longer be members of the single market or customs union. Well, according to the rumours of the text, I've actually downloaded the text and it's 585 pages long. I'm not going to bloody read that. But it looks like that's not going to be the case. Our laws will be made and interpreted by judges across the UK, not in Luxembourg. Again, that's not going to be the case with this Brexit deal. The days of Britain making vast annual contributions to the EU will end. £39 billion. This deal is going to cost. We will be the world's foremost champion of free trade. Well, if we're tied in with the EU, it's going to make doing trade deals with the rest of the world almost impossible. And then again, no deal is better than a bad deal for the UK. She's said that over and over and over again. It was in the manifesto, and this deal is quite honestly worse than a no deal, and now she's pushing it. For 2 years she's been saying no deal is better than a bad deal, and now she's pushing a deal that's worse than a no deal. Because she says a no deal would be a disaster. You couldn't make it up. You really couldn't make it up. So I was going to show her a speech, but I can't. But she's come out and said that, hey, we've got the support of the cabinet. But did she? Because the truth is, she didn't. She actually didn't get the support of the cabinet. What I didn't realise was they didn't vote on this. There wasn't actually a vote. They go with what's known as the mood in the room. And Ian Duncan Smith has told the BBC that he's been in contact with people from the cabinet and have said that there were 10 or 11 people who were against it. There's another, let me show you it, from Sky. Sky have said that Sky sources say the cabinet was very split, with nearly 10 cabinet ministers opposing Prime Minister Theresa May's plan. There's only 21 cabinet members. That means half her own cabinet were against this plan. Half of her own cabinet were against it. What do you think the chances are of this actually passing a meaningful vote if half her own cabinet are not going to vote for it? Now, collectively, because she said that they've got approval and they've got the support of the cabinet, collectively they are meant to come out now and support it. Collectively, the whole cabinet are meant to come out and support it. And anybody who doesn't come out and support it is expected to either resign or be fired. So I know that there's a saying that there are no such thing as Tory rebels, and I sort of agree with that. But I am expecting people to resign tomorrow. And let me just bring it up because I was ready. Here we go. This is the statement from Jacob Rees-Mogg, who is the head of the ERG, and the European Research Group, the group of 80 MPs who are avid leavers. And this is what he says. Like you, I supported the Prime Minister in her early approach to Brexit negotiations. I agreed with her Lancaster House speech that this should be built around the ability of the UK to take back control of our laws, borders and money while safeguarding our precious union. Unfortunately, the proposals for a UK-EU agreement released today do not match up those early expectations. And he goes on to give 3 or 4 points that it's going to cost £39 billion when she said that the days of handing over money to the EU, vast amounts of money to the EU, would be over. The proposed agreement would treat Northern Ireland differently than the rest of the UK. This is bloody dangerous, is what it is. It's bloody dangerous to have Northern Ireland be treated different to the rest of the UK. And let me explain why. Because I don't think many other people have realised this. What happens if we treat Northern Ireland different to the rest of the UK? What happens? Remember, Northern Ireland voted overwhelmingly to stop in the European Union. What other country voted overwhelmingly to stop in the European Union? Scotland. If Northern Ireland are going to be treated differently, don't you think the SNP are going to be saying, hold on a minute, why is it one rule for them and a different rule for us? You can guarantee Nicola Sturgeon is going to be playing that card. That is bloody dangerous, is what it is, especially if, as she says, she doesn't want to be responsible for the breakup of her country. He goes on there, this agreement will lock us into the EU customs union and EU laws. This will prevent us pursuing UK trade policy based around our priorities and economy. Who would want to do a trade deal with a vassal state? Who would want to do a trade deal with a country whose laws are controlled by Luxembourg, not by London? This is just a disaster. Agreeing to the subject of rules of EU customs union is in contravention to the 2017 Conservative Manifesto. Without any votes or influence is profoundly undemocratic. This is compounded by the lack of any ability for the UK to unilaterally escape, making a UK a permanent rule taker. Now, I can't stand Jacob Rees-Mogg, but everything in that letter I absolutely agree with. Everything. It is a shambles, this is. An absolute shambles. Let me remind you, there are 650 MPs in Parliament. Obviously, 7 MPs don't take their seat, and the Speaker of the House and his 3 deputies don't vote. So that means she needs the support of 320 MPs. She's only got 315 members of Parliament in total. That's all she's got. She's relying on the support of the DUP. That's another 10 votes. So if you actually look at, let's just say, right, okay, she'll get the support of the DUC rather. She'll get the support of the DUC and the DUP and those 13 Scottish Tories who I mentioned in the last video that have said that they're going to leave because of the fishing rules. Let's just say that they're not Tory rebels, really. Then they'll vote with her. Vote with the deal. And the DUP, let's say she bungs them another 1.5 billion. But there's still around 30 members of the ERG that are probably going to vote against it. Let's say she gets that down to 20. That means she's still going to need about 18 votes from somewhere else. The SNP are not going to vote with her. The Liberal Democrats, obviously, they want to stop in the EU. They're not going to vote with her. So then it's all down to Labour. Is she going to get 15 votes from Labour? Maybe. She'll maybe get 15 votes from Blairites, people like Kate Harry. But that's if she gets the support, they get the support of the DUP, and she can't even get the support of more than half of her own cabinet. This is an absolute shit show. Is what it is. Again, those are the key things that were in the Tory manifesto. Doesn't comply with any of them, as far as I can tell. This is a shit show. Now, apparently letters are going in. We shall see about this, but letters are going in at the moment. Votes of no confidence. If it gets to 48, and there were already 40 rumoured There were rumoured to be 40 letters that the chief of the 1922 Select Committee has got. Only another 8 are needed. And after what I've just seen, like I said in the last video, stick a fork in her. She's done. This is an absolute shit show. It really is. I didn't think it could get any worse than it already was. She's just gone and proved again that I really shouldn't underestimate the incompetence of Theresa May and the Tories. This is a shit show. She's got to go. She's got to go. Notice in her... I wanted to actually show this because it's one of the reasons why I wanted to show the video. Did you hear the shouting? Did you hear the shouting and the screaming from people, from protesters outside the gates? Imagine how bad it's going to... That was just from the speech, just during the speech. And if you go on Twitter, you can see people are not happy about this at all. If she carries on with this and they push it through, people are going to be in the streets and the police are going to start cracking heads. It's going to get worse. She's got to go, and I really do hope this is the end of her, and by the end of the week she's gone. Because if it carries on, the rest of the world must be looking at us and thinking, Christ, America's bad enough. What's happening over in the UK at the moment? Not good at all. Let me just get back to the chat because I've shut everything down. And I'm hoping that I can get back to the chat and my buffering has stopped. We're all catching up. Thank you, Patrick. Keep going with the live streams. I will try, Patrick, but if this is buffering and everything, then I'll have to do a change tomorrow. Everybody's saying it's better. Oh, this is good. We believe you, and I cite more than May. Thank you, Trisha K. That's really appreciated. I really appreciate that. My video is much better now, says... Oh, everybody's saying it's good. Great, you could hear me. I wasn't talking to you all from a frozen screen. Toasting, we really should just leave. We should just leave it. Really, it's that simple. I really don't think it is, Toasting. It's not simple at all. I really don't think it is. The video is out of focus. Yeah, I had to drop the latency all the way down, So that's the only way I could stop the buffering by the look of it. Neil Gardner says the only reason I can think of to stay in the EU is elect more anti-EU MPs. We'll try and have more friends after the next EU parliamentary elections. I'm with you there, Neil. There's not many reasons, but the only reason to elect more Nigel Farages, I suppose. Covert White Rabbit says, if May is anything like an entrenched politician in the US, the only way she's leaving is in a bag feet first a century from now. We'll see. We'll see if there's a vote of no confidence, but I just can't. It's got to end. It's got to end now. This has got to be the end of it. I don't know whether you noticed, but when she did that, I mean, I'd love to show the speech, I really would, because I wanted to comment on it. She was shaken. She looked like she was shaking, and it looked like those... I mean, if half of her cabinet were against it, it's no wonder that the meeting that was meant to take 2 hours took 5, first of all, and it's no wonder that she was looking very flummoxed, to say the least. She's got to go. Please, just go. Just get rid of her. She's like herpes. You cannot go live. You can't get rid of her. It's an early Christmas miracle. Okay, excellent. Well, at least the stream's better now. I'll try and do a few tests tomorrow to try and see if I can figure something out. But I'm hearing it could be my end. Something's wrong with my computer because I can hear my fans whirring like you wouldn't believe. So Obviously something screwed this end. I'm not the most technically minded person in the world though, so I'm really sorry about this. I know it. I don't like the fact that it's making me look unprofessional. Emmett Oliver says, British people, be strong, be independent, stand up to your identity being destroyed. We'll see about that, Emmett. I'm not the most nationalistic person or anything like that, but we voted to leave, 2.5 years ago. 2.5 years. And that she's proposing us to basically be a vassal state and not be in control of our own laws, not being in control of anything, just in betweening and in between in and out, in sort of purgatory, not being in control of anything, with the hope that one day before 2020 we might fix it, and if we don't, it'll be extended ever more and ever more and ever more, forever in some sort of in between, with one foot in, not even one foot in and one foot out, we're sort of in the middle of the English Channel, just swimming around in circles, waiting for some miracle to come along. It's fucking pathetic, it is. Phil Bertoff says they say better the devil. In her case, we should make an exception. Terrible. Yeah, your computer might be an NSA puppet. I've been hacked. That's what it is. The Russians have hacked me. I saw a report. I saw a report earlier that NATO have blamed them for hacking the GPS coordinates in their Finland's NATO drills. Hacking GPS coordinates. That's what they've blamed them on now. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they did do it, but everything is Russia's fault at the moment. Excuse me. Her necklace controls Brexit. You know that necklace that she wears with a chain around her neck? Oh, somebody once said to me, one of these days, that's going to be put to good use. I thought, that's terrible. Thank you, Uncle Katrina. That's very nice of you. No Man's Land, Phil Bertoft. That's absolutely right. That's what she should. After 2.5 years of saying a bad deal is no deal is better than a bad deal. For 2.5 years of us saying that, she's now put us in a situation where we are in no man's land. The only thing I can hypothesize as the reason of doing this is because of what I've said a few times as well, that Brexit will probably be the existential crisis that leads to the reunification of Ireland. I've said that quite a few times. There were other people like George Galloway who believes that too. George Galloway actually believes that should happen. A hard Brexit really makes that not just a possibility but a probability, because a hard Brexit would, again, even if you have a hard Brexit, how do you fix the Northern Ireland border issue? If you just say no, we're walking away, that Northern Ireland border issue is still there. So somehow you've got to fix that, and it's an absolute shit show. 2.5 years. 2.5 years. I bet it took less than that to build the Empire State Building. Maybe that's going too far. Maybe that took. I think that took a lot longer actually. You can see my point there. You can still get hung for treason in this country, says Mark Stevenson. She's certainly not doing things in the best of the UK. Not for the best of the Britain, anyway. It's just kicking the can down. I've said it over and over. Kicking the can down the road. How many times have I said? How many times in the last I started in February, so in the last 9 months, how many times have I said, as soon as the woman makes a decision, she's done for, because whatever she does, she's going to lose support from one side or the other. Somehow, she's managed to pick a solution to all this that doesn't lose her support from one side or the other. It's lost her support from everybody. Half of her own cabinet. Apparently Esther McVey, this is a rumour, so I can't say that it's certain, but apparently Esther McVey called for a vote and it was refused. Esther McVey, I don't like that woman at all, but she called for a vote apparently and it was shouted down. Because, like I say, half of the cabinet were against it. Her own cabinet. This is never, ever going to get through the meaningful vote. Not a chance in hell. Wave the Rule says, we are not leaving. Military unification is going ahead. That's one of the reasons that was sort of the nail in the coffin of me going, oh, for sure, I don't want to stop in the EU now. When they started looking at a European Union army, what's next? EU conscription? I know it's a valid point. What's next? EU conscription? Seriously? You know? She looked shaken when she did that. She looked totally shaken when she did that speech. 5 hours. I knew it would go through cabinet. They are her mates, says Nico Reunion. But that's the thing. It actually didn't go through cabinet. Half of them were voted against it. Half. I expected 3 or 4 to say no at the most. I think I said last night I expected 3. She wouldn't get the support of the cabinet. I expected 3 to be... I didn't realise that she could literally just subvert that. It wasn't even a democracy. They didn't even take a vote on it, apparently. What a joke. Lee Davenport says Kate Hoey should join the Tory party. Kate Hoey should get out the Labour Party. I don't know where she should go, but she should get out the Labour Party because she certainly doesn't represent the people of Vauxhall. She spent four of the 5 hours showing off her latest dance moves. Says Phil Riley. Oh, don't remind me. You'll give me nightmares. Thank you, Greg. Thank you. It's yeah. I'm learning as well. I think I'm getting better, so I appreciate that. I appreciate it. Mark Stevens says 1984, that's what coming. We're already there, mate. We're already there, especially, I mean, however bad, you know how America are coming down on, for their surveillance at home with the FISA warrants and what have you. We don't even have a FISA court over here. GCHQ just do it. They say they don't, but I don't believe them for a second. 1984 is here, Mark, says Lawrence Taylor. Exactly. We are there. We are in the surveillance state. PCU IMAC. You had the best of both worlds, your own currency and access to the single market, and fucked it all up for abstract sovereignty because you hate people from Poland and immigrants. It wasn't as simple as that, mate. It wasn't us hating Poland and immigrants. It was hating the establishment. There are some people obviously who don't like the immigration, and you get a high amount of immigration with cheap labour. That's a problem. So for a lot of people, it wasn't the racism against Eastern Europeans, but for some it was. It's a valid point, but it was a screw you to the establishment is what it was, more than anything. Because remember, the establishment linked arm in arm and said, no, don't do it. And the people were like, I'm fed up of you telling me what to do, what to think, what to say, how to act. Fuck you. That's what Brexit was. And now they're scrambling and trying to subvert democracy. That's what they're trying to do. Honestly, I nearly picked up my monitor, this monitor here, and threw it across the room earlier. I sat through 20 minutes of an interview with war criminal Tony Blair. That guy just does not like democracy whatsoever. All he kept saying was, another vote, another vote, another vote. I remember I sat here and thought and said, well, what if we have another vote? What if we have another vote and we vote leave again? What then? Do you want us to have another vote? Fucking pathetic. She's on the 10 o'clock news now with her ruby slippers. Oh, bless her. Okay, vote White Rabbit. Quick Parliament primer to US viewers. What happens next? Vote. Whole Parliament convene. Proposal goes to MPs. What happens next? So what happens next is, okay, put the vote of no confidence, etc. aside. I'll come back to that. So what happens next is it's on the 25th of November. There will be a meeting between the EU and the UK, and the deal gets ratified, and there are some other bits and pieces they'll do, and then they'll come up with the solid agreement, and then it'll go to the meaningful vote. And what that means is in December, probably before Christmas, it'll go to a meaningful vote, and then the whole of the House of Parliament gets to vote on it. And as I say, she'll have to they will need oh yeah, by the way, Louise Mensch, she said the deal will pass, suck it up and move on. You are welcome. That's what Louise Mensch says. If her track record of being wrong about absolutely everything she's ever said, ever, I've never come up against an instance where she's been right yet. So if her streak continues, then the deal is definitely not going to pass. But they need, let me show it again. In this meaningful vote, what they need is the support of 320 MPs. There are 315 Tories, but 30 of them are apparently, well, as many as 80, I am hearing, are going to vote against it, but 30 of them are going to vote against it. So, say if 30 votes against it, the 10 DUP say, screw you, you've gone against it, we're not giving you the backing now, we're not going to vote for it. Although, with the DUP, bung them a billion. That's probably what will happen, people are going to be more pissed off at that. And the 13, if that happens, the 30 MPs and the DUP and the 13 Scottish MPs, they vote against it. That means she's going to need support of 48 to 50 other MPs of Parliament. The SNP are not going to vote with her. None of them. How many SNP? There are 35 MPs from the SNP, the Scottish National Party. They won't vote for her. They want to remain. Lib Dems, the 12 MPs from the MPs, they won't vote for her. They want to remain. Now, if that doesn't pass, the meaningful vote, what that pretty much assures then is a no-deal Brexit. When we just walk away and say, no, screw you, and we work with the rest of the world on World Trade Organization rules. But even that is not straightforward. Even that is not straightforward. There are hoops you have to jump through to get that. Now, what actually happens next, that's what happens next with regards to Brexit. What actually we think is going to happen next is she is going to face a vote of no confidence. There's something with the Conservatives called the 1922 Select Committee, and the chief of the 1922 Select Committee, if anybody has a no confidence in their Prime Minister, they send a letter in to this guy. Now, he's very secretive about how many there is, how many letters he's received, but if they get 48 letters of no confidence, then it sparks a no confidence vote. And in that no confidence vote, she will then need the support of at least half of her own party, and it's done all in secret with the Conservatives. She's got to get the support of at least half, and if she doesn't get that, then there's a leadership contest. It's a shit show, is what this is. It's an absolute shit show. It's an embarrassment. And obviously, if there is a leadership contest and a new prime minister, there's almost certainly going to be another election. There's almost certainly going to be another election. I've said all along that there is going to be another referendum somehow. That will rig it so there's another referendum. I honestly think that the referendum will probably come in the form of a general election now, with two sides saying this is what we want and this is what we want. We've got to pick one of them. But I've said, even before the result of the 2016 referendum, that there will be another referendum. This is stupid. You can't have an in-out referendum without defining what out is. Otherwise, you're going to be left in a right fucking mess. Look where we are. That's basically what happens next. Covert White Rabbit. I hope that makes it as clear as mud for you, because that's how clear it is for us over here. Right, that's the state of play anyway, everybody, and I'm glad now that at least the buffering has stopped. If the buffering has stopped, then it was obviously Streamlabs OBS that was the problem. But my computer is whirring away a hell of a lot faster than it should be. So, Mick Hills, you know what? The last thing Labour need is a one-issue general election. We'll see. I think it's inevitable that that's what the general election. If we have a general election before then, that's what the issue is going to be. But I agree with you. I do agree with you, actually, Mick. That's a good point. The last thing they do want is a one-issue general election. Good point. What are you drinking, Gordon? Too busy with chat? What am I drinking? Coffee at the moment. Far better than OBS. No, OBS is great. I know you say XSplit, didn't you, Lion Cash? I like OBS. Honestly, with how fast this computer's whirring at the moment, something has happened. Something's happened. You know what I honestly think? There was it's either there was an update to OBS or there was an update to Windows. I've got a feeling it was an update to Windows that's caused this, because my computer is whirring like mad and it doesn't usually. Especially when I was on Streamlabs OBS, because you only have one program open basically. So we'll see. How many tabs open? None. I haven't got any open, mate. So I'll get to the bottom of it anyway. I'll do some investigating in the morning to try and get that sorted, because I do want to do another live stream tomorrow night. I did promise people I'd do one on Thursday to make up for last night, so if I can get it fixed before then, I'll do a live stream tomorrow. Windows had a big update earlier today, says John Ordinary. It was the same last night though, John, so I know there was an update a few days ago with Windows in between the two live streams, so it could be that, but something's buggered. Something's gone on, and I'll have to fix it in the morning before I do the live stream tomorrow. Right, well, that's the state of play at the moment, everybody, with Brexit. It's, to sum it up in 3 words, it's a frigging disaster, is what it is. 2.5 years. 2.5 years of Theresa May saying no deal is better than a bad deal. And today it's switched to we've got to take this awful, terrible, bad deal. It's the best I can do, but I know it's a bad deal, but we've got to take it. Otherwise, we're going to have a no deal. And I think she's finally conceded that if they do have a no deal Brexit, that could lead to the reunification of Ireland, because that border issue is not going to go away. Even if you have a no deal Brexit, that border issue is not going away. It's still there. And as yet, nobody has come up with any sort of fix for it, any sort of solution. And I think that's because there's not a solution other than let Ireland have their own referendum again. And, you know, if they voted to remain in the EU, that might give the you know, enough people changing their mind from wanting to remain in the UK to it might be. I mean, you know, I've got no crystal ball, but we'll see going forward. In the meantime, I am expecting her to be gone. I certainly am bloody hoping, because I'm fed up with the woman. I really am. Love you too, Astro. Thank you very much, everyone. Right, I'm gonna bugger off and go and watch some crap on that I've recorded, and come back in the morning and try and fix this live stream ability. I'll be back for a live stream tomorrow if I can fix it. It will be 9 o'clock at night, which is about 4 p.m. Eastern time for those of you in America. Have a great night, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Peace, everyone. Take care. Love you all.